Hi, I'm Fiona Waddell. I'm a tarot teacher, intuitive educator, medical intuitive, and mentor. And for many years, I've worked with people who feel intuitive, but don't always trust what they're sensing, seeing, or knowing. What I see over and over again is this: people aren't struggling because they lack intuition. They're struggling because they were taught tarot as memorization instead of skill. So today I want to show you a different way to work with tarot, one that's embodied and deeply intuitive. This video is for you if you've memorized meanings but still feel unsure in the readings. Tarot sometimes feels flat or generic, like everyone's saying the same thing, or you sense there's more depth available, but no one has showed you how to access it yet. The topic today is simple but powerful. If you've been reading tarot by memorizing a book, you've been taught the wrong entry point. And I'm going to teach you a method you can actually practice. And we're going to use the major arcana as a living journey today. We're going to focus on that. This is applicable to the minor as well. If you learn tarot by memorizing a book, you didn't actually learn tarot. You learned keywords in essentially a textbook. And keywords don't give you clarity, they don't give you timing, and they don't tell a story. It's very chunky and choppy and ugh. Tarot starts working when you stop reading about the card and start stepping into it. In my classes, I teach a method called the journey of Bob. Sometimes be like Bob, sometimes don't be like Bob. Bob is the reader, Bob is the querent, Bob is the character in the card. And when you place yourself inside the card, and it's very vivid with the major arcana, tarot stops being symbolic and starts becoming experiential. Today, I'm going to teach you how to do that using real examples. I've got 3 cards here. And so you can actually learn something you can practice and apply today. So what is the major arcana? Just in case. Let's start here because this is where most people miss the point. The major arcana is not a set of just personal traits or archetypes. It is that, but there's more. It's not just a list of meanings, and it's not a fortune-telling device. The major arcana is a map of consciousness. It shows us stages of development, thresholds we need to cross, lessons we are revisiting, and moments where life initiates us. Our cycles, our up-leveling, our obstacles, our growth. From the Fool to the World, you're watching a journey unfold, not once, but over and over again throughout your lifetime. This is why major arcana cards feel big. They're bigger. They're not just about daily logistics. That's what we have the minor arcana for. They're about where you are on your path. And that's exactly why immersion into the card works so well with these, because they're major life events. So why does memorization fail, or it's failing you? When people memorize tarot meanings, they're taught to stay outside the card. It's very objective. They look at it like the tower just means destruction. The lovers means relationships. Death means endings. And they're just repeating phrases and there's no connection. And that flattens the experience. Tarot isn't asking, what does this card mean in general? It's asking you to ask, what does it mean to be here right now? What does it mean to be here right now? Why is this point in time coming forward? When you stay outside the card, you miss emotional tone, readiness. You cut off all of your senses by not experiencing what Bob is experiencing in the card. You're missing resistance, potential context, and what's coming next. I'll get to that later. Immersion gives you access to all of that. So let's talk about the journey of Bob, my method. So here's how the journey of Bob works. Bob is you, Bob is the querent, Bob is the figure in the card. When a major arcana card appears, you ask, where is Bob standing? How is he standing? What's the weather like? How is he feeling? What does Bob see around him? What's behind him? What's ahead? What can he see ahead? Is Bob moving or is he stuck? Does Bob belong here or has he overstayed? We're stepping into Bob's world, which is our client's world. The key question is this a moment to be like Bob or not? That single distinction turns tarot into a living conversation. You can start working with your client who you're reading for once you start diving into that. So our first example is the Fool. I like the Fool, and I like to start here because it's literally the beginning of the journey. On paper, the Fool is new beginnings, innocence, trust, leaps of faith. But if you step inside the card and you become Bob, or you just stand outside Bob, Bob is standing on the edge of a cliff. There's openness all around him, but also risk. You can feel the cold air brushing against him. You can feel the weight of the stick on your shoulder and the chin up and holding the flower behind you. There's a wee dog next to you that's quite happy and barking and yapping all the way. And we know we're looking up and not looking down. And it may be a little chilly because of the mountains, but it looks joyous and free. But there could be an element of ignorance here too. So then we ask, is Bob aware of the cliff? What's the energy? How are we feeling? Is Bob prepared or is he pretending not to see it? We can also look at the other cards for guidance for this. Is this courage or avoidance? Sometimes the reading says, be like Bob. Trust, begin, step forward. It's time, go for it. And sometimes it says, whoa, 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 don't be like Bob. Slow down. Look, pack a rope. And you can do that by looking at the other cards in the scenario as well, too. So same card, different reading, because context lives inside the card, not a book. Not a book. Next, the Hermit. Oh, my wee guy up in the mountain. So here's the Hermit. The keywords here are solitude, introspection, and wisdom. But immersion asks, is Bob choosing solitude or hiding? Like, are you doing the work? Is this a pause for integration or avoidance? Because he might be up on that cold mountaintop and his feet freeze to the mountain because it's so freaking cold. Like, look, he's got like just wee sockies on, socky shoes, and he's standing on ice. He doesn't have much on him. Or is Bob resting or isolating? Isolating. So that's what you, and also is what's he focused on? What's he looking at? He's looking away from the light. So again, this is stuff, signs that can come up in a reading and with the other cards around, but because you've stepped into the card, you're doing more than just the key words. So stepping into the environment, it's quiet, it's narrow, it's focused. Then ask, what happens if Bob stays here too long? The Hermit is powerful until it becomes withdrawal. We're not meant to stay on the mountaintop. We're supposed to learn, reflect, grow, and then come down. So tarot isn't telling you what the card means. It's showing you how long a phase is meant to last as well. The Hermit is not supposed to be a super drawn out phase because it's cold and you can get stuck there. So there's an awareness. It's very much, it reminds me of the Hierophant. You don't want to be stuck in an institution for too long. It's heck of a helpful and can shower you with blessings. But if you stay in that structure too long, you can't grow. Repeated theme. Next is the Tower. Do, 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 do. I love me the tower. Now let's talk about the tower because this one tends to make people go. So in memorization, keywords, it's destruction, chaos, collapse. Immersion asks, what was built here that wasn't stable now? Who put Bob in this tower? Why is Bob still in the tower? Is Bob one of the people being forced out of the tower? Or is Bob outside the tower now watching? Did Bob ignore earlier warnings? So there's a few things here, right? And also the crown-like dome at the top is an empire toppling. And the lightning, like it's vibrant, it's active. There's an electricity about this transformation. But you wouldn't feel that or sense that if you were just outside the card. When you step inside, the structure is tall, it's rigid, it's electric, it's impressive, but it is isolated. It is something that's happening to you. The tower isn't punishment, it's a correction because you've moved away from the devil, which is you're recognizing your limiting beliefs. And the tower is like this world you're living in now, and you're recognizing, like, this world that I'm living in, do I want to stay in this? And this is like a heck no energy. This is the world around you is changing because you have changed. You can feel the electricity, the vibrancy. Like, hey, Bob, you don't want to be tossed out of here. You want to walk away from this and rebuild. Sometimes the reading could say, this has to come down. Or it could say, you've already survived this. Now integrate. And then we move on to the star, which is the next card after this. The difference only shows up when you enter the card and feel the overall energy. So I've already touched on this before and after, reading the whole arc of the story. One of the most powerful parts of immersion is remembering this. No major arcana card stands alone. Each one sits between two others, before and after. I kind of tipped on that with the tower. We know the devil is before this, and we know the star is after this. What happened before Bob arrived here? What was going on with Bob? What must Bob do to move forward to get to that next phase? What's the shift, the disparity between the two cards? What is the tension that will help them grow? This turns tarot into a timeline, not just a snapshot. It makes it a story instead of just separate cards. It also gives you pacing, direction, and grounded guidance instead of vague advice. Because you have the two cards, and you actually have the other card that you may have already drawn. So you've got a few cards of space. You don't have to pull clarity cards because, like, let's say if you pulled the tower or pulled the hermit and the tower next to each other, you know what's before and after the hermit and before and after the tower, transitioning between the two cards. So this method works because the body reads nuances. We can use our intuition by being Bob in the card. The nervous system picks up context, so we can pick up way more with our subconscious. Intuition engages naturally. You don't have to, like, oh, intuition on, intuition. No, it happens all the time. It's running in the background all the time. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, go see my other videos. So you're no longer guessing, you're responding and receiving. This is how tarot stops feeling performative and starts feeling a little more reliable. It is also how readers move from, am I doing this right? To, I trust what I'm seeing. And I can't tell you the number of times I've had people say, oh, no, that's not right. And then I get a phone call or an email saying, oh, well, you know what? Or they book another reading a year later and they're like, well, everything you kind of mentioned came up. I was kind of shocked. I'm like, yeah, I remember the resistance I got. So there you go. So this is the kind of tarot work I teach inside the tarot trainings. And my approach to most work is immersive. Like this tool, our body is absolutely freaking phenomenal. And it's also the work I do in the intuition circle as well, too. It's not memorization. There's no performance. There's no scripts. There's no rigid meanings, but lived practice skill. Because it's one thing to say that immersion, oh, yeah, I understand immersion. You can read all the knowledge, spiritual knowledge, but if you're not building the skill and practicing, so if you want to learn tarot as a living language, one you can use confidently in real time while listening to your own intuition. So either a tarot reader for others or a tarot reader for yourself. You'll find links below to explore my courses and ongoing practice spaces like my memberships. If this way of teaching resonates, I would love for you to like, subscribe, comment, share your ideas because I'd love to make more content for you. This channel is about one thing, turning intuitive tools into embodied skill. Sometimes be like Bob, sometimes don't. And tarot will always show you which. Have a great day. Take care.